That's okay. I don't need that. But I appreciate it. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Art Deco Neighborhood Association, ADNA's second Commission Candidates Forum. My name is Irene Bigger, the president of the association, and along with our Vice President, Annette Grant, raise your hand, and our Secretary, Ann Bloom, as well as Directors Nina Weber-Worth, Eugene Rodriguez, and Michael Bigger. We'd like to thank the candidates for participating in this public forum, and Jonathan Plutzig and his staff at the Betsy Hotel for hosting us this evening. ADNA represents approximately 2,000 registered voters in our defined area within the Art Deco district, from Ocean Drive to Washington Avenue, from 5th to 15th Streets, and 2 additional blocks north of 15 on Collins Avenue to Lincoln Road. Our unique and famous neighborhood, which is steeped in rich Art Deco history and surrounded by the beautiful landscape, which is our beach and our park, attracts millions of visitors each year, on top of the thousands of residents that call it home. The sheer amount of people and businesses with diverse needs makes our neighborhood particularly challenging and in need of special attention from our commission. We need a commission that understands our complex needs and looks for creative and sustainable solutions to satisfy those needs. Any statements made today should be sincere and with the intention to follow through. Again, thank you all for participating. The format for this evening, real quick, will be as follows. We have 11 candidates, of which 10 are participating this evening. At least the last I counted, 9 or 10. Okay, we might be missing one. Maybe she's on her way. 6 for Group 1, 2 for Group 2, including the incumbent Commissioner Laura Dominguez, and 2 for Group 3, including the incumbent Alex Fernandez. And they are seated in alphabetical order according to their group. In the first segment, they will be given a minute each to introduce themselves. And we will have, in our second segment, questions from ADNA, with each candidate chosen in random order and allowed 1 minute to respond. Our third segment will be a lightning round of questions submitted in advance by residents and members. And for the sake of time, the candidates will respond as concisely and at the same time as they can, with the paddles given to them. Then each candidate will also be given the opportunity to pick one random question that they alone will answer within 1 minute. And in the fourth and final segment, we'll allow each candidate 1 minute for closing remarks. So with that, and without further ado, I'd like to introduce all the candidates. And candidates, in your seated order, please take 1 minute each to introduce yourselves. We'll start with Dan and Serraldo. You can stand if you like. Absolutely, it's going to be great. So you can test the microphone too.
Testing? Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Daniel Serraldo, candidate for Group 1 Commission, and I currently have 7 wonderful competitors, but when I signed up, I did not. And that was back in February. The reason I jumped into Commission in February is we're in the middle of a zoning crisis. The state of Florida is taking over our zoning controls and forcing high-rises into our low-rise areas. And so I've been to Tallahassee. I fought that as executive director of Miami Design Preservation League. But I realized that just being a nonprofit leader, I wasn't able to have as much of an impact as if I were a commissioner. So that really inspired me to run, because there are plans for the Clevelander, 20 to 30-story buildings, for 15th and Collins, a 30-story building is proposed. All over the place, there are major issues. I want to focus on this district, protecting it, promoting it better, and keeping our neighborhood beautiful. So thank you all.
Hi, Brian Ehrlich. I am really excited to be here with you all tonight. I believe that we need to be building a Miami Beach of the future, one with vision, with discipline, and one that delivers results. You can look no further than just in front of this hotel right here on Collins, on Ocean Drive, Lincoln Road and Washington Avenue, even 41st Street and along 71st and Harding. Those are areas that are forgotten. Those are areas where we have not made the proper investments, and we're not going to be judged on what we tolerate today. We're going to be judged on what we build tomorrow. I'm not a politician. I have not been working for city organizations and working at City Hall, but I have been volunteering for our city for 20 years. I've authored the strategic plan for the Bass Museum of Art. I've been on the Historic Preservation Board, Capital Improvements Board, Cultural Arts, and the Board of Adjustment. And I bring life experience to this role. In my professional life, I have helped launch a tech startup and led major real estate projects. And I'll get to that more.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Matthew Baltanoff. I'm a nearly 15-year South Beach resident. I'm a father. I'm a husband. My children attend South Point Elementary School. I'm running because I believe that we face a crisis as well, but this one is a perennial crisis. Traffic, transportation, transit, and mobility. It impacts all factors of life on Miami Beach, whether you're a resident, whether you're a business owner, a visitor, or an employee. And I believe that there are solutions that can help alleviate some of these traffic problems that we have, but we don't have leaders that have the courage to tackle this. And I've served on the planning board. I've served as chairperson of the city's Transportation Advisory Committee. I serve on a county board as well. Professionally, I am a software developer. I currently work at the Miami Design Preservation League in community engagement, and I believe that I can help deliver the solutions for our city. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Omar Jimenez, and I am your community candidate. I started in South Beach in 2005. My family owned a restaurant here for 20 years. In 2022, we were named Hispanic Heritage Business of the Year. Earlier this year, we were also recognized by the City Commission for our 20th year as a small business in South Beach. In 2019, I started and founded my own neighborhood association in North Beach, where I live. Since 2016, I bought my first townhome there on the water, named the Parkview Island Sustainable Association. Over the last 5 years, we've brought over $8 million in direct community benefits to our community through sustainable improvements, relining of sewers, flooding, all of the things that we're seeing today. I want to be your commissioner because I've been fighting for our community for over 5 years, and I've been involved deeply with our community in Miami Beach for over 20 years. I'll be very happy and lucky to have your vote. Please put your confidence behind me because I'm not working for special interests, lobbyists, or developers. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Monica Mateo Salinas. I've been a Miami Beach resident for 16 years and I've been involved for about 15 and a half. I first started volunteering with my children's PTA at South Point Elementary, and when they reached middle school at Nautilus Middle School, I was elected PTSA president. And I continue to Beach High, where they currently attend, go High Tides, during volunteering for the PTA. My kids wanted me to lay off the PTA, so I said, perfect, I'm going to run for commission, and here I am. I've been involved in multiple different boards. I sat on Miami Beach United. I've also sat on the board of the Miami Beach Community Development Corporation, which I'm very proud of. Additionally, I've been on some committees. The Commission for Women, I was appointed by the late Commissioner Mark Samuel, may he rest in peace, and also the Committee for Quality Education. I worked for 2 different commissioners, Commissioner Kristen Rosa Gonzalez and Commissioner Alex Fernandez, which I'm also very proud of, and I've been endorsed by Commissioner Tanya Bott, So Be Safe, and the CWA Local 3178. They endorsed me because they know me, they trust me, and they know I'll get the job done for you. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Commissioner Laura Dominguez, and it's an honor to serve as your commissioner the last 3 years. I'm very proud to be part of the commission that made the changes and voted in favor of ending the chaos on spring break. We're here at ADNA, which is ground zero. It's where our Art Deco architecture lives. It's a postcard, it's the crown jewel, and we need to protect it and make it the best that we can be. And the first start was to end the chaos of spring break. Very proud to have been part of that process. I'm also appointed as Chair of Public Safety and Neighborhood Quality of Life Committee. So I'm quite often speaking with the Miami Beach Police Department and every single neighborhood association on all sorts of issues to help make Miami Beach better. I'm also appointed to the board of the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, and I really enjoy making sure that they do the marketing that's necessary so that we attract the kind of visitors we need for our city that has over 22,000 residents. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Fred Carlton. Fortunately, I'm a senior member here. I've been here 60 years. And I'm a product of the school system here, park system. Miami Beach, obviously, is in my blood. It's where I raised my 4 children. The 4 children were born in Mount Sinai Hospital, and they were also brought up through the school system here and the park system. We have a lot of complex problems here in the city. I want to put one thing to rest tonight, because I know there's a lot of mailers going out. I am not a developer. Okay, I want to make that very, very clear. I do not develop. I don't own 1,500 apartments on Miami Beach. I own 1 apartment. Okay, and all the other things that are being said through these mailers are completely false. I'm here simply to serve my city, a city that gave me so much, and to get back to it would be a privilege.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex Fernandez. I'm proud to serve as your Miami Beach City Commissioner. I'm proud to have worked closely with the Art Deco Neighborhood Association over the past 4 years. One of the things that I'm very proud that we've been able to do over my term of service was in July of 2023 when we made revisions to our special event guidelines. Before, special events were allowed to come into the more residential areas of Ocean Drive, and I was able to work with ADNA in sponsoring these revisions so that these large events that impact the quality of life stay south of 13th Street, so that the neighborhood associations and the interested parties now receive notifications for the special event guidelines, and of course protecting our Art Deco heritage. I've been leading the fight as a city commissioner against the developer interest that wanted to rip away the protections for our historic district. I secured our Art Deco district, whether it be through the Resiliency and Unsafe Structures Act or Live Local. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve you.
Greetings, welcome everyone. My name is Luigi Mary. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Bigger. So I am here as the only working class candidate. I want to thank every one of you for being here because this class of candidates all love the city. We just have different approaches and different ideas on how to achieve that. I think all of us here want the betterment of the city. The purpose of me running is to give the residents an actual, true, and accountable voice. It's a tall order. I'm asking you to vote against our friend Alex. And it's a tough, tall order. But the reason I'm doing that is because I'm asking you to take a chance to put that aside and to consider something fresh and new. I respectfully disagree with you on a few points, and I believe that if we take our best interests, the voices of the residents, the voices of the small business owners, and actually take those voices and hold City Hall accountable, I think then we will be able to do that effectively and work together. Thank you.
So we'll just take this moment to have Ava, Ms. Frankel, would you like to take the speaker and just introduce yourself for a minute?
I'm Ava Frankel. I couldn't find the entrance for 10 minutes. But don't worry, I can help with other things. I wasn't expecting to come into this room and immediately start speaking. But hi everyone, if we haven't met already, my name is Ava Frankel. I was born and raised here in Miami Beach. I love Miami Beach. My website is www.avalovesmiamibeach. I love Ocean Drive, love the Art Deco. I studied engineering in college, and I would love to help Miami Beach on the infrastructure side, working hand in hand with the engineers to help our drainage finally be solved. the problem. And then also, I think what Miami Beach needs desperately is just love in our common areas. I mean, you see our sidewalks, our bus stops, all, what's that?
We're a little bit tech today. We usually will tech.
Well, thanks, I'm so happy to be here.
All right, we're happy to have you and everybody else. So now we are going to go to our next segment. And here's the questions that are from the Art Deco Neighborhood Association. And as I mentioned, they will be asked randomly. This is the low-tech side of it. Out of the hat. All right, so the first question is, the South Beach experience, including Ocean Drive, greatly impacts our city's economy and is a major contributor to the economic engine of Florida tourism overall. Based on the challenges we are experiencing, including vacancies and the difficulty in attracting quality businesses to come here and open, what is your plan for revitalizing Ocean Drive in our Art Deco neighborhood? And the first lucky person is Commissioner Alex Fernandez.
All right, well, first and foremost, we have a $20 million bond that needs to move forward and needs to move forward quickly, and I think there's basic things that we can agree on. Sidewalk repairs, lighting enhancements, these are all basic things that we can move on quickly that help our small businesses and that we can push to revitalize. Also, concurrency and mobility fees. We have businesses that can't even open because the fees we're putting in them are so big that they go out of business before they even open. So we're pushing through legislation to waive those concurrency and mobility fees. We also need to make sure that the city is clean, that the city feels safe, that we are seriously enforcing our no camping ordinance so that people feel safe walking through this area, so that people feel safe living in this area, which is ultimately what we need to do. Improve it as not only as a heritage tourism destination, but as a residential community that it is.
Thank you. The next candidate is Brian Ehrlich.
Look, I think that Ocean Drive has some of our most beautiful, high-quality architecture in the world. So that's our brand differentiator. That's what we should be selling to the world. We need a strategic plan with the private sector and the public sector, I believe with the commission leading that plan, to articulate exactly what it wants and what the standards are. We should, number one, have high standards when it comes to design. What does that look like? That looks like 14 feet sidewalks. That looks like pedestrianization of an entire corridor. That looks like shade trees. That looks like something a little bit more like the design district, quite frankly, than Ocean Drive. It looks like people that are dressed in uniform that exude the right branding for the neighborhood. And you do this across all the different verticals, right? You then go to the Yale School of Architecture. You get them to have an outpost here. And I will continue my vision because it's very specific.
Thank you. The next candidate is Fred Carlton.
So, the biggest problem here with Ocean Drive is that it's not mutually exclusive to itself. You've got to clean up Washington Avenue, Collins Avenue, and Ocean Drive. You have a big problem with permitting, and my background is in retail, so I know a little bit about this. You have a big problem with getting permits, and so companies that are going to come here, higher-end companies, they have to wait 2 years, they have to start paying rent, they're just not going to come here. So we have to streamline the permitting process at City Hall. The other thing we need to do is bring in the people that know how to renovate areas or revitalize areas. People like visionaries like Craig Robbins, who can come in and bring upper scale tenants here, open businesses and restaurants. Until we start addressing what's going on in City Hall, the permitting process, none of this is going to get resolved.
Next candidate is Commissioner Laura Dominguez.
So there's a lot of things going on Ocean Drive. Somebody mentioned earlier about the GEO bond, and I think that is few years ago, we had an architect do a master plan for Ocean Drive, and that Zixkovich plan turned into the Giordano plan. And it's currently in the design phase. That particular architect has been hired to work on the new design for Ocean Drive. It's contingent on whether we can have access to Ocean Drive as a city or not. This commissioners recently voted to have it completely pedestrianized, which would be fantastic. But the county currently is not permitting us to have that in that particular street. So one-way traffic is what we've got. They've done traffic studies, and as soon as we get back the information from the traffic studies, we'll know what to design. But if we can't get it pedestrianized, it will be more wider streets, wider sidewalks, beautiful streets, and more investment into Loomis Park.
Thank you. Daniel Seraldo?
So thank you. Okay, adding my camera. Okay, I'm going to stand up so you can see the timer. So Ocean Drive in the Art Deco District is an economic engine, not just for Miami Beach and South Florida, but the state of Florida. One thing that I noticed when I worked at MDPL, when I first arrived, the resort taxes were about $50 million a year. And when I left, they were around $100 million a year. But who here thinks that the city doubled their investment in the area? Anybody? Not me. So I think what we really need to do first is go to the Finance Committee and say, hey, Joe Magazine, why are you sitting on $40 million of resort tax? We'd like to tap into that. Let's get some creatives coming here. Let's celebrate Ocean Drive, because we really have all the ingredients, like Barbara Kapanen said, to make this an incredible place. But we do need the leadership from the city, not just hoping the next developers are going to come and save us, which won't really happen. So thank you.
Next is Luigi Mary.
Thank you for the question. Welcome back, everyone. So I am glad to take this question because I am the only one here, to my knowledge, who has actually worked as a manager on Ocean Drive. I'm the only one here who was almost killed by a homeless individual on Ocean Drive. Police paperwork there verified that, so you can fact check it. So now the reason I mention that is because the revitalization of Ocean Drive is very important. The elephant in the room is the urban culture. The golf carts, the stopping at the red lights, the dancing and the traffic, the twerking, all of that. We need to step up the quality of our entertainment. It's not about black entertainment. It is the type of programming. When I was a member of the Black Affairs Advisory Committee, one of the events that we did have was a Josephine Baker night. And that was a classy event. It was an upscale event. So what I want to do is to bring more events like a John Coltrane, a Duke Ellington night, something that will elevate the quality of our urban entertainment.
Thank you. Matthew Goldenoff?
First, I want to say hi to my wife and my kids who just arrived in the back. Welcome. So South Beach, Collins Avenue, Ocean Drive, and Washington Avenue is the historic central business district, if you will, of Miami Beach. And it's the reason why we moved here almost 15 years ago while we're raising our family here. It's the walkable streets, it's the density, it's the commercial, the cultural, and the economic activities that are here. The big issue is that it's hard to get here, and it's hard for visitors to get here. My office is on Ocean Drive, and I see it every day. I've heard that revenues for our restaurants and our hotels are down on Ocean Drive, on Collins Avenue, and Washington Avenue. It comes back to mobility. Miami Beach is not the only game in town, unfortunately, anymore, and we're competing with Wynwood and Brickell and other neighborhoods that are easier to get to and more centrally located. If we can solve mobility, I think that we can bring South Beach back again. Thank you.
Thank you. Monica Mateo Salinas.
Hi. So, two ways. First of all, I would support the pedestrianization of Ocean Drive, and I know the county does push back on that, but I think the helpful workaround is to have more events. So quarterly, I think we should be closing down Ocean Drive to have events. For example, Miami-Dade College, they have the book fair. I don't know if you've been to the book fair, it's fantastic. We don't have a bookstore in Miami Beach. I know Commissioner Rosa Gonzalez had a proposal to bring a bookstore here what if we had a book fair on Ocean Drive? And we shut down Ocean Drive and we have this lovely book fair like Art Deco Weekend. Art Deco Weekend could really be better. We could get actors that come out in the 40s and 50s wear. I think that'd be fantastic. The second way is getting better businesses. So we just hired a new economic development director, Stephen Anthony. He just started about 3 months ago. There's no reason why we can't have a Joe Stone Crab outpost on Ocean Drive. That'd be fantastic. We need those type of restaurants for people to dine out on Ocean Drive and elevate the status. Thank you.
Thank you. Omar Jimenez?
So as a small business owner in South Beach for 20 years, Miami Beach in general is not anything like what it was when we first moved here in 2005. We really have to work on bringing back people to Miami Beach, not just Ocean Drive, because all of our businesses are suffering up and down the beach, on Washington, on Lincoln, on Española Way not so much, but we're all still suffering. Last year we lost 70% of our tourists, snowbirds that came here, and this spring and summer was absolutely awful for everybody. So we really need to work on making small business better, reinforcing incentives for small business in Miami Beach, bringing back small business in Miami Beach, working with the Beacon Council, working with the Economic Development Department, working with the Chamber of Commerce to develop a Miami Beach Business Development Authority so that we can create a new niche economy that will bring back young families, young professionals, and bring back mixed use to our city so that we're not just developing high-rise luxury towers that nobody lives in, nobody comes down to use our businesses.
Thank you. Ava Frankel?
Hi. So I think that the biggest thing that Miami Beach needs is innovation. I think once we start innovating, everything will naturally start flowing towards us. What does that look like? Faster permits. People who have vision, who can create collaborations between existing businesses and the hotels, and maybe those businesses come in and renovate the whole lobby and add a nice restaurant to the ground floor of a hotel on Ocean Drive, and then that hotel can then raise their prices, and it all kind of just trickles around throughout the whole area. I also think that we need to clean up, like Fred said, Collins Avenue, because it's a very stark difference, Ocean Drive and Collins Avenue. I also have heard from many business owners on Ocean Drive that they want north flowing traffic rather than south flowing, because currently the way that the traffic goes, it's very hard for people to come, like you were saying, to Ocean Drive. And if it were north flowing, whatever. It would just be better.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to our next question. In light of recent state legislation and developer interest in our neighborhood, what is your view on development? And is there a place for it to help our economy without negatively impacting the character of our historic neighborhood or encroaching upon and jeopardizing our picture postcard skyline on Ocean Drive? First candidate, Ava Frankel.
Okay, the postcard skyline, I agree. I want to see it more. I want more rooftop. I know a lot of people are against the rooftops, but I would love to have more rooftop options where I can go and have a nice dinner and see the ocean and the beach. I mean, our name is literally Miami Beach, and I can name 3 restaurants where I can actually see the beach from the restaurant, and it's like, we just need more. We need more innovation, we need more options, we need less bureaucracy, because right now our rules are suffocating us. It's suffocating the businesses, it's too expensive, it's too inconvenient. We need live music, and live music doesn't mean it's gonna be like blaring music. It can be someone playing piano. It can be someone playing, it doesn't need to be amplified live music, but it can be live music or a little guitar or something, anything. We need innovation, because that's how Design District Wynwood, all of the other towns or areas of Miami that we're intimidated by, that's how they got to where they are, by innovating, and we need to do that too.
Thank you. Commissioner Laura Dominguez.
So development is important to continue moving our city forward, but we have to be so careful. What's hurting our city now is that many zoning laws that we put in place to have protections have been challenged in Tallahassee and have been preempted. And that is something that is ruining different parts of our city. In the meantime, I'm very proud that the city has been fighting back, and some have gone to Tallahassee, like my colleague Commissioner Fernandez, to really help. And we've been unified in that front to make sure that we can keep the protections. But smart development that makes sense, rehabilitating buildings is important so that we don't crumble 100 years down the road into the future.
Thank you. The next candidate, Matthew Goltanoff.
So I'm sure many of you have heard that our city has been losing population since 2020. And that's unfortunate because the state of Florida is booming. Part of that is because it seems to me and to others that Miami Beach has become the city of no, and not what it used to be, which was the city of yes, trying new things out and being a fun place to do business, to live, and to have and to go to restaurants and whatnot. I believe that compromise is always necessary. Our character is defined by our architecture and by our streetscape and by the scale. I think that we can work together. We can build more housing stock so that full-time residents can live here, can afford to live here, can add to the vitality of our city, and can still respect what makes the city special to all of us in this room tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Serraldo.
Yeah, well, this is a reason that I signed up to run for commission, because when the state took our laws away, nobody on the commission wanted to fight it. Rather than, yes, we were talking about Alex at the going to Tallahassee, but I mean the next phase, which is actually joining the 30+ municipalities that have filed against SB 180. And by the way, they're not Democrat municipalities. These are Republican strongholds. So I've been trying to explain to the city that we really need to fight against Live Local before all these high-rises are like forced upon us. If I am elected, I pledge on my first commission meeting to have that resolution to join in fighting for our local control. This is not a partisan issue. This is really about community building. We cannot throw away the last 40 years of urban planning just because the governor, is picking a fight with us. So that will be a focus of mine. Thank you.
Brian Ehrlich.
I mean, it's been said before, our human scale is the differentiator in the city. We have the highest quality of Art Deco buildings in all of the world. And so that is what we have to promote. That's what we have to restore. And yes, we need to work with the people that own those buildings, right? We don't want them to look like they are in constant disrepair. We need to also figure out how we leverage our power on the commission to get the most out of them. I'm the only one who's built a building before as a project manager. I understand what the costs are. I understand how you can extract more concessions from developers and where the room is. And I believe that we should be doing that. We should be getting them to fund infrastructure. We should be getting them to fund master plans. We should have shaded trees that go east and west all the way down the streets that cut east and west. And we should have a series of valet carts like they do in the design district. If we create that with the private sector, we're unstoppable.
Thank you. Commissioner Alex Fernandez.
Thank you. This has been core to the work that I've been doing over the past 4 years, as was mentioned by Commissioner Dominguez and by Daniel. I've been literally fighting in Tallahassee when 2 years back to back, they were going after our Art Deco historic district. We were able to fight against the most powerful developer interests in the state of Florida and secure protections for our Art Deco historic districts. When they were pushing Live Local, we went there and we fought and we got safeguards for our architectural design and to be able even to require
facade replication. I have a history of working with historic buildings in Miami Beach. I've worked together with my partner Robert in fixing up historic buildings. And we've learned that we needed to streamline the process. I passed the first, most comprehensive revamp of our historic preservation code to make it easier for people to go through the process and fix up their building, creating also an ad valorem historic tax exemption on the restoration of properties. Those are the types of incentives we need to give.
Thank you. Fred Carlton.
So I agree that we need to join the municipalities in fighting live local. Live local is an absolutely ridiculous concept. It's a complete intrusion of the state legislature on the autonomy of cities. They don't understand what goes on in our city particularly. I'm not really sure about development at this point. I'm very anti-development at this point. I think that we have to take a pause. I think there's a multitude of reasons that we have to do that, including our infrastructure. As far as Ocean Drive, I do think we need a revitalization of Ocean Drive, but as I said before, I think it has to go hand in hand with Washington and Collins. And the other thing is who in this room wants to do business in the city of Miami Beach when you have to wait 2 years to get a permit? So I continue to say that we need to simplify the process. In order for businesses to thrive here, they have to be able to get a permit and open their businesses on time.
Thank you. Monica Mateo Salinas.
Hello. So first of all, I completely support historic preservation and protecting our historic neighborhoods and buildings, number one. Number two, I'm also not a fan of all the height increases and FIR increases that we've seen, especially when there's no public benefits. I know there were 12 different properties in North Beach that were given to the developers with 0 public benefits. We have to make sure that never happens again. We need the developers to give public benefits to our residents and make sure it's equitable and make sure we're getting a good deal for whatever project they want to build. Lastly, I do want to say, we have to listen to the residents. I know that here at the Clevelander, they want to build a tower. And I've heard people say, not the Clevelander that fronts Ocean Drive, but the lot behind. Well, maybe that will bring residents to our area that will keep our grocery store open, that will keep our restaurants open. So it's always a push-pull. I'm not a fan of the height increases or the FAR increases, but we do need to have smart development at the end of the day. Thank you.
Luigi Mary.
Can you please repeat the question, ma'am?
Sure. So, in light of the recent state legislation and developer interest, what is your view on development? And is there a place for it to help our economy without negatively impacting the character of our historic district or encroaching upon and jeopardizing our picture-perfect postcard skyline on Ocean Drive?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question, Ms. Bigger. It's an excellent question, and it's a nuanced answer best I can provide here for you. We live in a free market society, so we cannot just arbitrarily just stifle development, right? But at the same time, what do we do smartly as a small city under 100K to preserve that natural charm? How do we protect those treasured Art Deco properties? Because once they're gone forever. You hear about atrocities in other countries when they have wars and they destroy museums and all types of cultural artifacts. Once they're gone forever. So we cannot let this development war destroy our Art Deco treasures. So it's a thin line that we have to balance. We have to be able to try to thread that needle. And in terms of Tallahassee, I think we need to try to recalibrate our situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Omar Jimenez.
So I was actually the only candidate that announced his candidacy during the special city commission meeting on June 27th for the confirmation and the approval of 1250 West Avenue and the Deauville redevelopment. I stood side by side with those developers and I told them that this was a horrible deal that we were getting because they were not providing any community benefits and that it wasn't gentrification, it was exploitation of our community. I stand by that. I am self-funded and I always will be. I'm not beholden to special interests or developers, and I will always fight for historic value, the historic value in our city. Obviously Art Deco and our city's history is very important, but we need to regain our competitive edge that we've lost over the last decade or so to other nearby municipalities. And how we do that is by building mixed-use developments that will bring back, as I said, families, young professionals, and young families to work and live in our city. Because we're good at the play part, but we're not so good at the work and live part, and we need to improve on that.
Thank you, everyone. On to the next question. Question number 3. With special events continuously occupying our public park and beachfront during the peak season months, there is growing concern about the quality of life for both residents and the visitor experience, the strain on our infrastructure, and competition for our local businesses. How do we better manage these special events and balance them with the needs of all that I just mentioned? Omar Jimenez. Omar Jimenez.
Sorry, I actually wasn't listening. Can you repeat the question?
How do we better manage special events that continuously occupy our beach and our park? Because there are needs. It's a quality of life issue for our residents. It affects the visitor experience, infrastructure strain, and also competition for our businesses.
Yeah, so I think that's a really important question because we got rid of spring break. We did a great job at bringing back control to our city, although we lost hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue that are now going up north to different municipalities. How do we balance that? So how do we bring events that are culturally important to our city while providing to our community and not taking away from what we have to offer? I think that that's a very important question that we all need to focus on in creating an annual master plan for these events so that we're also not providing hundreds of thousands of dollars in sponsorships and trying to get all of these events to come here. They should be paying us to come here, and we should be cherry picking the best events that are available throughout the country because we are a world-renowned city and we are a world-renowned destination, and we need to start acting more like it.
Thank you. Monica Mateo Salinas. So I understand that some of the special events have, blocked the view of the hotel goers on Ocean Drive, and I know that they, there's back of the house issues where people don't want to see, the dumpsters and everything. So we can reconfigure that differently. We can also make sure that vendors, when they set up these tents and take them down, they do it quicker. It seems now that we have the tents, it takes 3 weeks to put up and 3 weeks to take down for a 5-day event, and then that disrupts the view, and there's a lot of noise, and there's a lot of exhaust fume with trucks and going in and out. So I think we do need to plan better these events in terms of the setup and breakdown. Additionally, we do need to host better events. Remember how I had said the book fair on Ocean Drive? I know that our Deco weekend is going to be having kind of a taste of Ocean Drive, and they're going to be hosting some of the restaurants instead of having the carnival food, the greasy carnival food we've had in years past. So maybe another event that we can host is a Taste of Ocean Drive, where we shut down Ocean Drive and we allow the restaurants to have sidewalk cafes in the street. Thank you. Commissioner Laura Dominguez.
We've come a long way with events, but there's more to do. And the improvements that have happened have actually happened because of Agna. I'm looking at James Krupp and how many meetings and discussions did we have about having events south of 12th Street so it doesn't affect the residential neighborhoods. So the city has a production industry council meeting. They discuss, and it's a public meeting. Residents can look up and participate to see what events are coming down the pike. Our tourism and cultural department does a really good job of trying to button up events and making sure that they set up and are taken down before it's necessary. Having events in our city, I think, does help drive economic benefit and helps with the resort taxes, of course, but we can't have that at the expense of quality of life for the residents. So more needs to be done and more streamlining. And next year is going to be incredible because not only do we have the regular events, but we also have the College Football Championship and then FIFA World Cup. That's going to bring a lot of tourism here. So we are working on it.
Thank you. Fred Carlton.
have to work with the Chamber of Commerce, and we have to work with the Tourism Bureau when it comes to events. I think, really the core thing here is safety, right? So during these events, we have to make sure that our residents are protected adequately. We have to have beefed up police presence. And that means that these events have to pay their fair share. It's unreasonable to come to the taxpayers of Miami Beach and ask them to pay for, beefed up security, beach cleanup, all the things that come along with these events. The events are super important, no question. It promotes our city. Our city is very unique in its own right. But in order to, really make this thing function properly, we have to get a real balance between what these events are going to pay to the city, take the burden off the taxpayers, have beefed up police presence and safety, and work with the appropriate agencies to get the right events here.
Thank you. Matthew Goltenoff.
Last spring, I attended an event with the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, and they did a poll of people in the audience, multiple questions, a lot of times about what is holding back tourism in the region, what can they do to improve it, and almost every single time on the screen, on a word salad you would see, it was traffic, it was transportation, it was public transit. That is the number one issue. Anyone who's attended trade shows anywhere in the country know that a transportation plan is the number one priority, or number one thing that you'll see between the big convention and all the hotels. They'll run shuttle buses, they'll have routes. They make it so that the impact of these big conventions and shows is not that great on the city in which they're being hosted in. Our Basel, we don't do any of that. The transportation plan is good luck, or take an Uber. I would just use the example of the Adobe conference that was here last year. 10,000 people, they had a transportation plan. We should do that for special events here. When I say we, I mean the people who are hosting it. Thank you.
Daniel Seraldo.
Yeah, I think the special events are sort of the lifeblood of South Beach. People that moved here, people that stay here, a lot of them started with an event. I remember when Art Basel first came here and how it really changed our city, but there's also been other events like, as was mentioned, Art Deco Weekend, etc. One thing that we have to do better at is managing the events. For example, Venice is always an inspiration for me. I go to the Biennale almost every year, whether it's architecture or art, and they basically weave the event throughout their city. It's not like a major event that just chokes off the whole city like our events. So I think we need better events at, for example, taking the vacant storefronts and working with them, doing pop-ups, maybe having our own Biennale that's more sort of like cultural and low-key and not these crazy events. And that's really what impacts the residents. But I'm all about events. If you want to have no events, live in Boca, but we're South Beach, so we want to have fun.
Omar Jimenez. Sorry about that. Even low-tech messes up. Ava Frankel.
These weekends, even though they generate a lot of revenue for Miami Beach, they are taxing on residents. And my brain immediately thinks, oh, well, maybe we should charge these festivals a little bit more. But then I'm like, oh, wait, I don't want to add more red tape to these businesses and events that are coming to our city to add revenue to us. And instead push them to other parts of Miami like we've done with many other things. So I think maybe we might consider doing a higher resort tax during those weekends. So the people who want to come here and stay in the hotels, even if it's a little incremental amount, it adds up over all of the people that are staying in the hotels here, that are spending money in our city, and we don't need to advertise it, like, hey everyone, we're doing higher resort taxes during this period, but we might consider that. That way there's not as much red tape on those events, and that there's more revenue for us.
Thank you. Luigi Mary.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, so now, in regards to what what we can do. I think that we need to really, again, recalibrate the type of entertainment that we are providing on Miami Beach. In terms of special events, I am the only candidate that actually worked and managed the business on Ocean Drive. I mentioned that before, and I'm the only one who was a member of the National Concierge Association. I mentioned those two facts because they are in fact relevant. I am dealing with the customer face to face. I know what they tip. I know the groups that are well intended. I know the ones that are probably looking just for free birthday drinks when their birthday was 2 months ago. You know these things. You pick them up. And what we need to do is to fill up our calendar. We have 100 days of the year where we have beautiful, pristine Chamber of Commerce weather, and the streets are empty. We need to do pop-up events. And also, one of the things that I will do if elected, I am actually going to create an annual Miami Beach pass, similar to a Disney pass, which will encourage repeat travel. And I'll elaborate on that further. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Ehrlich.
Look, the way that I look at it is from an analytical point of view. I think that we need to look at the numbers. We need to understand how much are these events generating in economic activity. I brought an event here actually to Ocean Drive. It was called the National Cycling League. There was not a rigorous application process in terms of what I was going to contribute. I happen to think we contributed a lot because we brought a lot of people here. We had competition cycling that we did over the weekend during spring break because we were trying to counter program during spring break. But the city's got to take a different view. They've got to put the onus on the person who's producing the event to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how many heads and beds. This is the economic activity that we're going to contribute. And then, as we discussed before, we got to get the right kinds of events. So that might look like the Cannes Film Festival in a very, very small kind of, compact version. We should be thinking about it from a footprint point of view, not from having giving these people the wide swath of our beach.
Commissioner Alex Fernandez.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. With respect to special events, we believe special events continuously occupy our public park and beachfront during the peak season months, and there's growing concern about the quality of life of residents, impacting the visitor experience, affecting infrastructure, as well as competition for local businesses. What is your view? How do we better manage these special events and balance them with the needs that I just mentioned?
Right, well, first and foremost, our number one priority are the residents. All of this takes place on the taxpayers' property, on the public's property. And so one of the things that I mentioned earlier that I did was sponsor legislation that the industry was very upset at me about to move the events to be south of 13th Street. We enhanced the notification requirements. One of the things that I want to do that I think is incredibly important is that this is the residents' property. There should be a special events review committee composed of stakeholders, neighborhood association, residents, the businesses, to give input on the traffic plan, on the waste, on the design of the back of house operations, on the logistical matters, not just the event, but the logistical matters that have a direct impact on the quality of life of the residents. And those are areas that I believe we can improve on.
Thank you, everyone. On to our fourth question. Safety and cleanliness continue to be a challenge in our community. What is your assessment of our neighborhood's current safety and cleanliness, and what actions would you take to improve it? Matthew Galtimont can start us off.
Okay. I love this question. I go out early in the mornings on runs. I see the city staff out here at 6 o'clock in the morning sweeping the street. I see them on the beach walk. I believe that Miami Beach is a very clean city. In fact, one of the cleanest cities in the country. I know that I'm getting some dirty looks from some people about that, but you have to speak the truth. There's not an unlimited amount of money. There's not unlimited resources. We want to have things like pipes that don't break, infrastructure that's not failing. We have to make sure that money, the taxpayers' money, the budget's allocated properly. I think the city does a great job. I would advocate to continue what they're doing with cleanliness. But even I don't think I've seen a urban area such as ours that is as clean as it is. And I'm just giving you one person's perspective. Thank you.
Fred Carlton.
Oh boy, well, listen, I was here in the 60s, I was here in the 70s, I was here in the 80s, and so on. And our city is filthy. I don't know what else to say. You go up Washington Avenue, you go down Collins, it's an absolute disgrace. And it really needs to be cleaned up. In terms of public safety, I think, the police department does the best that it can. It's a hard question. Do we add more patrol? Do we need more patrol? I think it's certainly something that needs to be looked at and studied. But I have to tell you something. We need to really figure out how to get with the shop owners and figure out a program to revitalize these streets. Because when you walk down all of these streets, the filth, the dirt, is just absolutely abhorrent. So I would be in favor of trying to get a coalition of shop owners together, figure out how the city and the shop owners can work together to beautify the area, because these streets could be an absolute showcase if it was done properly.
Monica Mateo Salinas.
So, in regards to cleanliness, I do think we need to do better with the cleanliness, especially in this area of the beach. Specifically Art Deco Neighborhood Association, this area, and Ocean Drive, and even Lincoln Road in front of the Deco Plage. I've done walkthroughs. I've seen what happens there. It's not pretty. The easy answer to that is hire more sanitation workers, but that's not an easy answer because then we're expanding and bloating our budget. So there's got to be a way that we can restructure so that way we have more sanitation staff so they can go out and clean more frequently, including pressure washing, street sweeping. There's got to be a way we can do it more often. It needs to be done. Secondly, I do support the police. I think we've got a very robust police staff. I think they do the best that they can. The homelessness is a huge issue, and I think working with the county in terms of, we pay for a lot of homeless beds, and I think we need to start making sure that the homeless accepts those services. I know that there's the controversial arrest method, which, sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, but I do think we need to have partnerships with the county so that way we're getting our money's worth with the beds. Thank you.
Thank you. Luigi Mary.
Thank you for the question. Now, in terms of cleanliness and the homelessness issue, I do partly agree with Mr. Carlton there in terms of the state of Washington Avenue. I spoke to many of the business owners on Washington, on Ocean, and on Collins, and many of them, quite frankly, are unhappy with the progress of the Washington BID, the Washington Street BID. I intend to do better by encouraging more proactive community unity. The name of my campaign is Community Unity. Now, what we need to do, we need to beautify those locations. There are many opportunities for us to do simple things in terms of repainting the sidewalks, repainting and resurfacing and continuing with the sandblasting. Things of that, we need to elevate the expectation of the visitors that come here. Littering should not be tolerated. I see people pull up and they throw a full-on bag out the window. These types of behaviors are unacceptable, and we need more enforcement to encourage the sustained beautification of our community.
Commissioner Laura Dominguez.
We have an amazing police department. This is the first time in decades that our police chief has ensured that our police department is fully staffed. So we are ready to go, and we've got technology. Also, in the last 3 years, the police department has been working with the state attorney's office. And I've been involved in some of those meetings as chair of public safety and been able to hear the different operations that they've had specifically for Ocean Drive, and it's really made a big improvement. As far as sanitation, we have an unbelievable sanitation department. My aide, Albert, who's here in the back, he and I recently went to the sanitation department for an event that they were having. We gave them a proclamation. I believe it's only about 3% of our budget. They go above and beyond and work so hard. A lot of times when you look at our streets, they're not dirty, they're old. And we have GeoBond that's coming down the pike, and it's replacing sidewalks in different neighborhoods to help make that better.
Brian Ehrlich.
it starts with beauty. It starts with having a well-designed city, a city that is built to last, with sidewalks that are well-maintained, with streets that are well-maintained, with pocket parks where we can put them that are high impact and low cost. It also means making those investments and holding ourselves as commissioners accountable to making sure that we get things done. You know, in the private sector, I helped launch a tech startup, and everybody in the company that I worked at had objectives and key results that they had to deliver on every day, every week, every quarter, and every year. We have to apply that same kind of accountability to the public sector and to the job that we do here so that we can see whether things are getting better or whether they're getting worse. And if they're getting worse, then you need to be able to check online and see why they're getting worse so that we can have recourse. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Seraldo.
Well, I would like to have a sanitation czar that is focused on South Beach. I'm a little bit OCD, undiagnosed, but I like to look at the sidewalks in the morning, and I don't agree with my good friend Matthew. I think that there are pockets that could look very dirty, and if we really have pride in our Deco like we all do, we want to make sure that we are representing the best version of ourselves. One thing that I like about the design district is that they do have people that are there, and when you come, and Brian was saying, like, they're wearing an outfit, and there's like branding there. Unfortunately, South Beach was going to have a business improvement district, but it never materialized. And so I think that, once again, we've got to look at tapping into that $40 million in resort tax, not all of it at all, but even a small amount. We could have seed money for the small incremental. I'm not the mega project guy, I'm the incremental block by block. I think that is how we polish this gem that we have.
Ava Frankel.
One of the first things I ever learned was treat others the way that you want to be treated. And to Luigi's point of people throwing their trash around Miami Beach, when our government and our city treats our city like trash, where it's dirty and filthy and disgusting, then others are going to see that and think, okay, I can treat this city like that as well. We have almost $1 billion budget, and people, I don't know where the money goes. I really don't. We just did an $11 million refund to our residents. That equates to about $140 per person. That's not moving the needle for anyone. I would have preferred for that money to be invested into micro investments of, call it spiritual infrastructure, whether it's cleaning the streets, making bus stops a little bit nicer, and then also on police. I have 7 seconds left. I think we need more foot patrol on pedestrian areas, especially at night. We have fully staffed police. We need it.
Commissioner Alex Fernandez.
When you get to the end,
Yes, of course. It's about safety and cleanliness. They continue to be a challenge in our community, and we're wondering, what is your assessment of our neighborhood's safety and cleanliness, and what actions would you take to improve it?
So I'm a big believer that the cleanliness depends where you're at. There's certain areas of our city that are spotless. Then there's other areas that are grimy, that are dirty, that feel abandoned. And I believe that it's impossible for government to do it all on its own. It'll be too costly, and the results won't be the same. Perfect example is the 100, 200, and 300 blocks of Lincoln Road. I call that, unfortunately, the scary part of Lincoln Road, because it feels dirty. The shops are not great, and we entered into a public-private partnership with a $4 million investment of Miami Beach tax dollars. We are getting a $12 million investment to revitalize that area as part of a public-private partnership where the private sectors can be responsible for cleaning and maintaining that area once this is delivered. To me, those are the type of partnerships that we need. We need to go throughout our city, do a cleanliness index, see which are the areas that are dirty, and work with the private property owners so that they can help the city where the city can't provide the level of service that we all should expect.
Thank you. Omar Jimenez.
So people always ask me, Omar, why do you talk so much trash, poop, and crap? Because there's a lot of it here in this city. Over the last 5 years, my association has picked up over 12,000 pounds of trash in community cleanups. And I'm not saying that we have a trash problem or anything, but we do have certain high traffic areas of our city that only get power washed twice a month. That's from sanitation. They told me that personally when I spoke to them. Why do we go to other cities around the world and see them power washing sidewalks every single day or every second day? Why do we see like the beaches being, all the trash at the beach here is not actually scooped up with those tractors that you see in the morning. It's hidden under the sand. We're not actually cleaning anything, we're just whitewashing our issues. The same with our infrastructure that's failing, the same with our poopy waterways. We have trash in all of the mangroves, in all of the dunes at the beach. We really could be a lot better, and I will make this a lot better.
Thank you, everyone. On to our third segment. We will begin this third segment, which is the lightning round, consisting of resident and member questions. As there were many questions, we really tried to make the most of our time. So you will see candidates have paddles in front of them. Candidates, what we would like for you to do, as best you can, is give us your concise 1 or 2 word answer with your paddles, and preferably all at the same time. Please answer as best you can with large letters or words. If there's a second part to a question or if a clarification you'd like to make, you can do it on the other side. And again, and it's whatever you feel comfortable in answering. So just be sure you are ready. And the first one, ready? Live local notwithstanding. Would you support a complete moratorium on new development in our historic Art Deco neighborhood, in particular Ocean Drive?
Can you tell everyone what moratorium means? I know what it means, but can you
Yes
just
or
explain?
no? Yeah, it would be a pause, like Fred had mentioned. A stop. Complete.
Yeah, does it mean restoration though?
No, new development. Yes, you are. So, yeah, and we can, since it's the first one, you can read it down the line, and then we can practice it, ready to mark. Yeah, you can go down the line, yes. No, you can say it. I think the acoustics are pretty good.
Okay, I'm a no.
I would say yes.
Yes.
No, this leads to more. I'll ask you to take over.
How? Nope, we're not debating.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm the only one in this race that proposed it.
Yes.
Thank you. Next question. Erase your answers. On to the next. Would you support incentives for adaptive reuse and repurposing of historic buildings, which is the second part of what you had asked? Adaptive reuse, basically taking current buildings and creating new use for them. And it's a yes or no. What I'd like to know, kind of as an aside, what for you would be an incentive? One word, if it's possible. We can go down the line, starting with you, Daniel.
For an incentive.
An incentive where it would be, I can tell you, without, basically it's either taxes, permitting, or anything else that you find that would help and assist this to happen.
Adaptive reuse. Well, yeah, obviously we got to get the permitting simplified, but
One word. And if not, that's
this is
okay.
very tough. I
Fair
notice-
enough. Fair enough.
notice our answers are
Yes,
different than
yes.
everyone's.
And Daniel, you really need to take. I apologize, but if somebody does want to make one comment, you
I have a
can.
comment.
Sure.
Hell yes, and we need to fast track this kind of these kinds of projects. Yes, we need to explore possible taxes and potentially co-investment so that we improve the whole neighborhood.
Yes. Tax credits and expedited permitting.
Yes as well, and property tax.
Anybody else?
Yes, incentives for mixed use.
Yes, and tax break for those that are doing it.
Yes, streamline permitting, waivers, things like that.
Yes, permits.
Yes, the way to do it legally is through ad valorem tax exemptions that the city commission just passed a few months ago that I sponsored.
I say yes, and I would also propose pop-up museums for those.
And I appreciate that, guys. I appreciate you doing this format. It's not the easiest thing. It's just a matter, and this section, we're going to take a little bit of time because it is important, and I think our audience, our residents and members are very curious about it. Okay, so I promise though the next ones can be concise. With respect to new development in neighboring areas, such as the west side of Washington Avenue and Lincoln Road, would you support either more new commercial development, more new residential development, or no comment, nothing? What would you like to see? And you can just hold up your paddles. Try to do it as
Renovate.
Very hard to see. You can say, you can go down the line.
I said yes, but at the current zoning of height, not more. So it's like 5 to 7 stories currently you're allowed.
We should definitely explore more residential on top of commercial so that we can have symbiotic relationships so people that live upstairs can go downstairs and enjoy things instead of having short-term rentals or hotels upstairs and then our community suffering.
I agree with that. I also wrote renovate on mine because I think we have a lot of existing infrastructure that's amazing that we can make so much better if we just invested in what we already have.
Housing for people.
I'm gonna keep saying more mixed use every time.
Residential with ground floor retail.
Residential at the existing heights.
Affordable housing is a way of alleviating some of the traffic concerns that we have.
What was the original question? Sorry.
It's okay, just say yes. I know, you guys down there, you get a little love out of it. We will, I think that's a good idea. Yes, and it's good for the audience too. With respect to new development in neighboring areas, such as the west side of Washington Avenue and Lincoln Road, would you support either more new commercial development, more new residential development, nothing, none, both, combo?
Yes, it's necessary as a means for preservation. You can't expect people to invest in preserving their properties if you don't give them development opportunities. And you also need the housing that's there to sustain the year-round economic activity of these businesses. That's why a lot of these businesses are suffering. There's not a full-time economy of people here to support them. Thank you.
You're good?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I have smart residential with incremental, low-scale, affordable housing. So where we can find a dozen or 2-3 dozen units that we can add, those will add up over time. So I'm looking for smart, incremental, low-scale residential.
Okay. Thank you, guys. So it's not really like a lightning round, but this was such an important section, so I appreciate that. Okay. I think now we can go a little more straightforward. The following, with the exception of this one, is pretty much yes or no. Ocean Drive. What traffic pattern do you prefer and support? Full pedestrianization, one-way traffic with the bike lane, or two-way traffic? You can put full, one-way, current, yes, you can say current, which is the one-way traffic. You can say full, you can put one, you can put two for two-way. It's easy, guys. Full, one, or two. And again, I appreciate you doing all of this. Yeah, no.
Can everyone see it?
Yeah, can everyone see?
No. Okay, let's say what we have on our channel.
At the other end, we're going to start at the other end.
Oh, yeah, picture you have a pedestrian there.
All right, here we are. Full-on traffic. Ocean Drive is originally intended and created. It's
Commissioner?
Ocean Drive, not Ocean Walk.
Commissioner, you did a very artistic answer.
Full pedestrianization. You experience the Art Deco architecture best when you're able to experience a pedestrianized Ocean
Okay. Liz, this is not a give and take. We are doing this on down the line. Let's go. Next.
I don't have an exact answer because I haven't studied it, but mine would be a hybrid. It would be a cutoff probably at 14th Street, and then have two ways from 14th Street down, so that the residents of 15th Street could live peacefully without all this traffic. Coming all the way down, they're not, the shop owners certainly could, also front. I think that a good deal is where everybody makes out.
Okay. Let's move on down. Anybody else?
Pedestrian.
Okay.
You visit the beautiful cities from the world, and more they're becoming pedestrian. And you have a promenade, and we're beautiful. We're the American Riviera. We've shown that we can do this, and it'll be fantastic.
Down.
Full pedestrianization, I remember during COVID, we had the sidewalk cafes, and it was beautiful. Absolutely.
Omar.
Full pedestrianization.
Matthew.
So today I support a shared street like we have right there today, and in the future, full pedestrianization.
Oh, I like that.
Layla.
I'm a little intimidated now that we got so many claps for pedestrianization. But I think we should have one lane going north. That way people visiting from other parts of Miami can easily access without clogging up the other streets nearby. And then a bike lane.
Full pedestrianization, we need to enter the future today.
I would say the current setup is the best right now for those who need to use the street, especially hotel guests and senior citizens that, when I worked on Ocean Drive, that was an issue. So I would keep it like it is, but work towards full pedestrianization.
Okay, great. Let's try to do this the real way now. Yes or no? I think this is a simple, straightforward one. Would you support a central valet on Ocean Drive? Yes or no? And you can write the yes or the no in big letters. And just, you don't have to say anything, just put it up there. I'll give you like 15 seconds. Of course, I can't see, so I'm going to depend. Sure.
I just want to say something really quick. I do support a centralized valet. I've actually been working with Ceci Velasco of the Ocean Drive Association. If people come, they have dinner at the Avalon Hotel, later walk down to the back seat to have drinks and listen to jazz, they can get their car here with a centralized valet instead of having to go all the way back. So that's the intent.
Anybody else?
Just we're working on it.
In fairness, go ahead, Luigi.
Yes. I say yes, Mrs. Baker, I say yes. But in terms of preservation, changing Ocean Drive is the opposite of preservation. I'm the only one who's actually preserving the original intent of Ocean Drive.
Fair enough. So we saw we heard two perspectives. Next one. Somebody mentioned it before. Are you in favor of additional beat cops on Ocean Drive as part of a community policing program?
Can I answer the last one?
Sure.
My answer would be no. And the reason is because you're opening up, for competition here. There's no competition, and you're going to get potentially price gouging. So more likely not.
Okay. Do I need to repeat the other question? The next question is, are you in favor of additional beat cops on Ocean Drive as part of a community policing program? Yes or no? I know things get complicated with budget matters, etc., but I know that other areas have gotten that request satisfied. And I really think that Ocean Drive... Trying to be on something. Okay.
Irene, I want to explain my
Sure.
answer a little bit. Sure. I say yes, but I want to say, though, that I don't know about walking. I would prefer them to be on bikes or ATVs, and the reason is because if you have beat cops that are at 9th and whatever, and they have to run to 15th Street, it's not efficient for them to run, 4 or 5 blocks. So if they're on a better mode of transportation that's quicker, like an ATV or a bike, I do support them walking, but we need to have more on a better mode of transportation that can get them to a scene faster.
They could also just have more throughout the street. Yeah, or, well.
Okay, the next question. Ooh, next question.
No, it's not.
All right,
It's just mine.
erase your answers and get ready for this one. Would you fully commit to branding Miami Beach as a heritage tourist destination?
100% yes.
Is that a gimme? Is that a gimme with the Art Deco Neighborhood Association? Branding Miami Beach as a heritage tourism destination. As some of you know, the Art Deco Neighborhood Association believes in our historic heritage, and we are very much proponents of it. So, thank you. Next question. Came up recently with the budget. Would you support an independent third-party review of our city budget?
Any questions? Well, I need to, can I qualify? There was, one of the commissioners, Commissioner Suarez, basically at the last commission meeting asked if the city would send Doge into Miami Beach. That I would not support. The city does annually do an audit, it's required by state law already, so that's why I put a yes. But I don't like trying to, hurt our city. As a commissioner, I would want to protect that part.
Thank you. So I'm going to phrase this question as a complete absolute. So again, let me just clarify. Our neighborhood association is not looking for answers that will appease us, or we sincerely want to know what your thoughts are, because it is a learning, it is mutually educational. We talked about special events. And I'm going to use the word overhaul, but it is a yes or no answer. But if there is an exception, I think this question, I would like to hear it. Would you support a complete overhaul and reprogramming of the special events in Lummis Park? And by that we mean start from scratch. It doesn't mean getting rid of everything that we have. It means reviewing everything, starting from a clean slate and having a criteria that these events have to meet to continue to have the privilege to use our space.
And if I could just add to my
Sure.
answer, again, this is the public's property, the taxpayers' property. There's a special event review committee. But the committee, you know who the committee is? Bureaucrats at City Hall. This is the public's property. It should be reviewed by the neighborhood associations, by the stakeholders, by the residents that have nothing to say.
Yes, as long as we don't build anything on Lummis Park.
I'm sorry?
Yes, as long as we don't build anything on Lummis Park, because they wanted to build a Ferris wheel at one point.
Right. The next question, pretty straightforward too. Do you support alcohol sales on the beach, and would you renew the one-year pilot program?
Wait, but those are two different questions.
Okay, let's do one side. Do you support alcohol sales on the beach? And in all fairness, you can tell me, I will wait for a review.
I voted no.
Mine is yes for the clarification, which is that the vendors absolutely have to be in charge of cleaning up after themselves, and there's strict penalties for them.
I voted no when I was on the CRA advisory committee.
I'm going to say yes, because I think we do need a pilot project to see if it actually works. And if it doesn't work, it's done.
I think yes, all these fancy hotels have it, and you have to pay like $150 for a chair to be able to drink alcohol. That makes no sense.
And I'm a no because we want to get away from our brand as a party destination and a more restaurant quality of life.
the pollution, we're in our sea turtle nesting season. We don't need any additional shenanigans, so I am a hard no.
Thank you all. Next question. Would you support a new zoning overlay in the Art Deco district to reduce or limit the amount of operations such as nuisance businesses, tattoo, liquor stores, smoke shops, etc.?
We have that.
That's true, yeah.
We have an overlay that I sponsored as a commissioner to limit the amounts of tattoo parlors, liquor stores, check cashing stores, souvenir stores, distance separations. We have it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. What, can I ask a follow-up, Commissioner?
Of course.
Why, I mean, I guess they're still here because they're grandfathered. You can't
Because
kick people out.
we need to do an amortization period so that they can restructure their business, because it is a free market. You can't just tell someone that has had a liquor store or whatever type of store for 20, 30 years that we're going to put them out of business. You need to do an amortization period so they can restructure their business, get their investment out, and is usually very high liability in it. But the city commission has never decided to take that step, though we've discussed it in the past.
Okay. And then is it, because I know we talked about this years ago, sorry, I think it's important, thank you so much. Is this for the side, the 100 blocks? I know we discussed this years ago.
It goes all the way to Washington Avenue, and I believe we expanded it all the way, I want to say up to 23rd, I know at least 17th Street.
Okay, great, thank you. Last question. Washington Avenue, in particular, continues to struggle, even with the overlays. What would be your number one and number two fix? It's not a yes or no. What would you tackle for Washington Avenue? Yeah, you can take your time. Take your time. And we can go down the line. We can start with Luigi and go down the line, and you can let us know what you think is important to fix.
Okay, so for me, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you all for being here, and I want to thank everyone for being here with us today. So for me, I would say robust police. Not this toothless tiger business. I'm going to sit in the car and I'm just going to do text messages and just sit in the AC.
Luigi,
Yes,
just if you can limit it to police.
Police
Okay.
and the beautification of the actual
Awesome.
Washington Avenue corridor.
Thank you, thank you. Commissioner Fernandez.
So I have 3 points.
Okay.
So full-time residents, we have 5,000 short-term rental units that are taking away from full-time resident opportunities. We need those full-time residents to support the businesses. Wave of things like concurrency and mobility fees that are making it difficult for small businesses to open up into retail, and doing away for processes for restaurants to even open up. If let's say the Van Dykes wanted to open up today, they couldn't without going to the planning board and all of these processes. We need to cut some of these processes that are keeping businesses from opening up.
So mine would be permitting process, expedite the permitting process, do zoning laws or strengthening the zoning laws, and then community standards for the storefronts. Like when you go to Palm Beach, you're not allowed to have storefronts that are filthy and dirty and have dirt all over them and not clean. So we need to adapt some strict community standards and make people clean up their junk.
Encouraging more residential, and whether it's through incentivizing, but for the buildings to keep the same existing zoning laws and height, but having more full-time residents will bring more economy to walking on Collins and on Ocean Drive, but Washington, not as much. I live in Curry's
I have two reasons. Or two things I would do. First of all, we need to aggressively recruit better businesses, and now we have a pop-up program that I believe Commissioner Fernandez sponsored. That's Wanderlust was able to open on Washington Avenue, and we need more businesses like that to keep Washington Avenue robust. It's a mom and pop type of family-owned restaurant. We need more of those. And secondly, low-hanging fruit. We don't have any flowers on Washington Avenue, not a single one. So let's have a partnership with Fairchild, and let's have orchids on the trees. Let's have some flower pots. Let's beautify it a little bit more.
I wrote nuisance businesses because it attracts all of the nefarious activity. Mixed use, again, because we need more affordable living on Washington Avenue together with retail that really works for the residents and the visitors. And bid oversight, because not only the Washington bid, but the Lincoln Road bid seem to get a lot of money from the tax property owners. They don't do that much, so we need oversight from the city on these bids.
So number one, I think is more full-time residential housing. When I started on the planning board, I supported incentives that would allow more full-time housing at appropriate scales to be built on Washington Avenue. Second is improving transit on Washington Avenue and the streetscape. It's one of the widest streets on Miami Beach, and there's so much potential to make it a place that you want to be, not a place just to drive through. And thirdly, I said the Plan Z, this COVID plan, has a lot of great ideas on how to make Washington, Collins, and Ocean a better place to visit and to live. And lastly, I just want to say, it's government's job to create an environment that lets private businesses thrive. It's not their role to dictate what private businesses should be there. That's for the community to do.
I said less short-term rentals and more housing in the area, long-term housing. I also said prettier streets where you can actually go and walk around and be in the shade and there's trees all over. And then right now, I don't know if you guys know this, but restaurants, if they want to have outdoor dining, they pay the city a lot in order to have it. So I would say incentives for outdoor dining. And then I wrote that the plan has kind of what he was saying about like the consistency. The plan for that outdoor dining needs to be approved in order to get that fee waived.
We have to have exceptional design standards in the city,
Yeah.
especially on Washington Avenue. That includes making it the most vibrant, walkable, pedestrian-friendly thoroughfare that we can have. We can do that through shade trees. We can do that through a design aesthetic, a color palette, iconography, fonts, all of those types of things. But we need real creative geniuses to be leading this project at the city. And number two, I think that we need to have a strategic sense of direction of what Washington is. So if Washington is going to be, we're going to really lean into the heritage tourism piece. And what we want to do is say, okay, how are we going to make this area the architecture and design HQ for Miami Beach? How are we going to attract other tech startups there? There's a lot of things that you can do. Sure, government may not be able to say, come here, but government sets the rules, and it can incentivize the kind of business that it attracts.
Well, I may be the lone no on this, but I don't think Washington Avenue is built for residential. I don't know if anyone here would like to live on Washington Avenue. The good news is we have so much residential within Flamingo Park as well as along Ocean Drive. I'm going to be a no on upzoning. I'm going to be a yes on repainting the buildings in the pastel colors. Commissioner Rosie Gonzalez brought that back, and it's another source of pride. And I'm also going to be a yes on supporting our community cultural assets, including O Cinema, that's been under attack by this commission, as well as, by the way, MDPL has been under attack. I want all of our arts institutions to feel that we're in the United States of America and we have freedom of speech. And I think that's going to actually bring the tourists that have canceled their trips back to Miami Beach.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, and you guys read the last. So what the candidates have in front of them are fortune cookies that my husband helped me make, and Youth Chinese Restaurant provided the boxes for. Basically, they are random questions that we baked in these cookies, and each of you will have the opportunity to answer the question alone. This is your question and your time. And you will get a minute each, and we will start from down there with Luigi starting first. And again, same rules.
That was fried rice.
All right, guys, and Luigi, you will start. And read the question out loud first.
Absolutely. Thank you kindly for such an innovative program. For all of us to speak Chinese, ni hao, wo jiao, bei ji, wo shi mei guan. Okay, so if you were in charge of special events, what would your lineup be, and what criteria would they have to meet? So, if I was in charge of special events, the criteria would have to be that it's family friendly, because there's a lot of excellent programming that we can do that is family friendly. We are not taking advantage of our excellent weather. We need to take advantage of water sports opportunity. We need to take advantage of our ecological environment. We have so much learning opportunities. We need to engage more with organizations like Miami Waterkeeper, the Frost Museum of Science, Mass Academy. We have so much biodiversity here that we can be taken advantage of. But back to the actual urban entertainment there, I would specifically step up the urban entertainment and make sure that we are providing more classy offerings where people can get dressed to the nines. They can go there and enjoy some Czar Imperial Oseta.
Thank you, Luigi. Commissioner Fernandez, would you like to read your question and give your answer?
Sure. So it says, aside from the hospitality industry, what other businesses would you attract to have a sustainable and diversified economy and enhance the business environment moving forward? And that is quite the question. But I think our taxpayers have said at the ballot box they want to see arts and culture. They want us investing in arts and culture. That not only contributes to tourism, but it contributes to the residential quality of life. And that's so important for us in being a world-renowned destination. I also believe that it's up to the market to determine. We live in a capitalist society. The market has to determine what it is that should belong here. So I believe that what our government needs to do is cut bureaucracy, not require restaurants to have to go before the planning board just because they want to have a violin inside the restaurant. That makes no sense. Like I was saying before, if Van Dyke's, that was such a successful establishment, an iconic establishment here in Miami Beach, if they wanted to come back, bureaucracy wouldn't allow it to come back. So if government gets out of the way, businesses will flourish, and they will naturally be able to come to our city.
Fred?
So my question is, in what areas would our government use AI to help with efficiency, effectiveness of running and operating our city? I would say certainly management, environmental issues, public safety. Those would be certainly areas that I think that AI could help us tremendously. For example, traffic. If we implemented a really good AI system that analyzed traffic patterns and allowed it to synchronize our lights properly, that would probably help with the flow of traffic. But there's just so many different ways that AI can be implemented into our city to help it with its efficiencies, and I would be very, very supportive of doing that.
Thank you.
Okay, what would be the next steps to manage the homelessness issue in our city? First, I will say our city is very lucky. I have been to others around the country and seen tents and huge groups of homeless people gathered all around the city. We do not have that. Our city spends about $3 million a year with the homeless outreach program. We buy beds, we offer them services, we help them with rehabilitation, getting jobs, housing, you name it. There's a lot involved, but we still have homeless. We had the census recently, and it was the lowest count in a very long time. I believe it came to 132 homeless. I do understand that that's seasonal, and as the cooler weathers come, we'll get more homeless, it changes. And we have 2 residents that sends every commissioner, every single day, homeless pictures from their particular neighborhood. So clearly, there's more for the city to do. The police is very engaged, and we do have ordinances and laws in place to help with the situation.
So my question was, what would you do to help our failing Art Deco hotels that cannot compete with newer construction? And I actually have a lot of ideas. Number one, we can partner with the Greater Miami Visitor and Convention Bureau. I know that they only promote the hotels that are members, and we need to talk to them and say, hey, listen, can you also promote the smaller Art Deco hotels to get folks to stay there as well, to book their rooms there? Secondly, I think we need to work with the Miami Design Preservation League to have events that are inside of the hotels as well, so that way maybe they'll do a lecture inside of the Avalon or some of the historic hotels and properties, and that way we'll keep people having traffic inside and out. And then lastly, we need to bring back our film incentives, and maybe the city can have a new film incentive program, and maybe we can reach out to some of the shows and get them to film inside of some of the hotels because they are so significant and historical, like when Magic City was filmed here. Let's try to get that back. Thank you.
My question
You
is,
guys are doing good. Omar, we'll wait for the clock to go down. Because we can't figure out how to reset it, so get that. Okay. And then we'll give you time to ask your question, and then we'll start again.
my question is, how would you rein in short-term rentals in our neighborhood? Obviously, that's a huge problem. They're competing with the neighborhoods, the residents, and we don't want to create a competition between the residents and the non-residents. And we also want to create more long-term rentals that will reduce property rent prices in our city. So better enforcement. Next year we're going to have 2,300 municipal employees that we're paying a lot of money to. So code compliance should really work. Do a much better job in enforcing the laws that we currently have on our books. Because we have a lot of strict laws on our books. Some of them are the strictest laws in the country, actually, towards short-term rentals. So incentivizing also landlords to convert from short-term rentals to long-term rentals would also be one of my plans. Thanks.
Thank you.
It's a long one. Considering high-end developer requests for increased FAR, which is how large a building is basically, what leverage would you use to protect our historic districts, and how would you negotiate with them to fund infrastructure and quality of life benefits for residents? Interesting question. I think that part of the problem is that developers expect that when they purchase property in this city, they can then go to the city commission and get upzonings for buildings that are bigger, that are taller, that have more FAR, more square footage. I don't believe that we should have these, give them extra height and square footage so that they can build more luxury housing that is not occupied. It doesn't add to the vibrancy of our community. So I would leverage it by saying no, so this expectation goes away and they don't come every time they have a new deal to the city commission asking for more height. I believe that many of the issues that we have, and I've heard this from many people as well, is that the city's full-time population is decreasing. The city is becoming less affordable. It's a city of renters. More than 60% of the residents are renters, and yet almost every big project that's come to the city are condos that do not increase the supply for our residents.
Thank you.
My question is, would you support incentives for repurposing and/or renovations of historic buildings, and if so, what would they be? I 100% would support incentives for renovations. My mom renovated over 20 historic homes in Miami Beach, so I have such a large appreciation for our history, and I've seen firsthand how much beauty can come from something that other people might think, oh, this is absolutely a tear down. I think, how can we do that? The permitting process is so excruciating for anyone that's a business owner, a future property owner. It's horrible to try to do business here in Miami Beach. So I would absolutely advocate for speeding up that process, and yeah, maybe even offering some sort of incentive, tax incentive until completion, something to help them feel like, okay, Miami Beach has my back in restoring its history. So, yeah.
Okay, my question is, if you were in charge of the Miami Beach branding campaign, what would you prioritize and what would it look like? For me, I think that, so you want to start with what the city's assets are. So it's world-class architecture. There's old world glamour. This is the city that, entertained Frank Sinatra. This is the city of the 90s in Miami Beach. An incredibly strong gay culture. This is the city that is world-class by every definition in arts and in culture. So I think what you should do is you want to start to tell that story. You have to get that word out to all the world, to Europeans who would want to come here, to the right kind of tourism, the tourism that we've been talking about here. I think that we might want to prioritize not having chain stores here, potentially, in a 10-block radius. I think we might want to bring together the heavy hitters in the culinary space, in the design space, fashion space, to help us come together with one voice to talk about what this area is innovation. It's, as I said, it's architecture, it's design. I think that we should lean into the sophisticated gay tourists and tourism ecosystem as well, because they're high spenders, and we can do it in a different way, unlike what we've seen with all of Pride, which Pride is fine, but we need more.
Okay, my question is, would you support more funding for code enforcement? And if so, where would the money come from without increasing taxes? So this goes back to my original proposition, which is we have a lot of money in that resort tax reserve. And so I want to, rather than just have it sit there and keep increasing the residents' taxes, I want to dip into that and make sure that our code enforcement has the necessary resources to make this a place we're proud of. But not just code, also the other resources such as sanitation that we talked about, which I believe those are both very underfunded and can be tapped into without increasing taxes.
Great. Thank you again, everybody. We are done with the lightning round section. Interesting answers, and we really appreciate it. And now that Mr. Jonathan Plutzig is in the room, I just want to thank him again personally. We appreciate your beautiful venue and your staff. They've been wonderful. And again, thanking everybody for being here. We're not done quite yet. We're going to allow 1 minute for each of the candidates to give us closing remarks. But before they start doing that, I think I'm going to ask Anne, my secretary, to give me a little bag with everybody's names. Because we are raffling tchotchke. It's an Adna, beautiful Adna mug. So while she's doing that, let's get it started. We will start with Daniel and go down. Closing remarks.
All right, so again, Daniel Serraldo, Group 1. This is a moment of crisis in our city. We're in a zoning crisis. There are projects that are being contemplated that none of us know about because the state has taken away our voices. I'm going to be the person to restore our voice and make sure that we fight Tallahassee, but also that we work together. We burn way too many bridges in this current administration. We need to work with both Republicans and Democrats and not just be a beacon one way or another. There's incredible extremism lately, it seems like everywhere. We need to get Miami Beach back to where it was and what we all love. And I think I'm the only one here that is going to really fight for that. I mentioned I'm not supportive of Washington Avenue height increases, of residential development there. I'm supportive of more investment in this neighborhood with the taxes we already collect and we don't use efficiently, and I think that would be a great asset to the district. Thank you.
Brian?
Hi, Brian Ehrlich. I'm really excited to be with you guys here today. I have lived in Miami Beach for 20 years. Served on a bunch of boards, the Historic Preservation Board, the Board of the Bass Museum, and in my professional life, I've helped launch a tech startup. I have led major real estate projects, and I manage complex budgets in finance, in real estate, and in philanthropy. And I believe that we need to focus on 4 things. Number 1, we talked about it, a well-designed city with a master plan. Number 2, infrastructure you can see and that you can feel. 3, we need to have accountability at City Hall. Just like you or I would have at our own jobs, we need to make sure that we are delivering results for people. And number 4, every project that we have in this city needs to strengthen our city. We've got to update developer impact fees. Just a little bit about me. I have knocked on 8,000 doors in the city. I'm the only person up here who got on the ballot by signature. And I think that tells you a little bit about how I would be as a commissioner. I'm relentless. I am a very hard worker. And I'm all about results. Thank you.
Did you have these candidates announced for group here on here?
Oh,
Well, I did say
I'll tell you. Him and tell Monica, we're all group 1. And then you guys are group 3, right? 2. And then the last 2 are group 3.
What's that mean?
You can vote for 1 person in each group.
Very, very good question.
Very
Yes.
good question.
That is a good question.
The first 6 candidates here are in group 1,
And there's one missing, by the way.
and there is one missing. There are 7.
What happened to Monique?
She's an attorney, and I think she had something that she was filed for tomorrow, so she couldn't make it. And then Commissioner Dominguez and Fred Carlton are group 2. And in the beginning, I did mention it, but probably would need to have it on the name cards. Commissioner Dominguez and Fred Carlton are running for group 2. And Commissioner Alex Fernandez and Luigi Mary are running for group 3.
You did a way better job than I did.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for starting for me.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Ava Frankel. I'm so grateful to be here tonight. I think that the thing that put Miami Beach on the map and what made us so famous was our fearlessness and our willingness to be innovative and to do things that no one else was doing. And somehow along the way, we started suffocating ourselves in red tape and trying to play everything by the rules. And I think that we just need more of the creativity and the innovation that initially put us on the map. It's hard to say everything that I want to do in 1 minute, but I have all of my ideas and solutions on my website. It's www.avalovesmiamibeach.com. Yeah. And I also made a fun video. It's on YouTube, Ava Loves Miami Beach, if you guys want to watch it. But I love Miami Beach, and I think Miami Beach needs love from our government.
Thank you, Irene, and the admin board for hosting tonight. Thank you, Jonathan. My name is Matthew Boltanoff. I'm running for City Commissioner in Group 1. I lived on South Beach for almost 15 years. I love it here. I'm raising my family, my wife together on South Beach. We wouldn't live anywhere else in Florida. I'm a pragmatic leader who knows how to work consensus and deliver results. As a software developer, I use data to help guide decisions, not to make them for me. And I'm not a City Hall insider, but I know how City Hall works. And I think that's what's important in picking someone in this seat. There's no incumbent. You have a fresh slate, a clean slate of people, and you, the residents, get to choose who's going to sit in this and help guide the commission going forward. Lastly, I have courage. Transportation, transit, traffic, and housing affordability are so important to the future of this city. My positions have been made, are widely known if you Google me, and I'm not afraid to pick the right thing, even if it's not the most popular.
Thank you.
So, thank you. Your vote this year is more important than ever. Kristen's seat is up for grabs, and there's 7 people up, and they're telling you all kinds of things. But the truth of the matter is, of the fact is that I've been knocking on doors for the last 5 years. I've already brought real results to the community, worth millions of dollars in community benefits, $8 million to my community in North Beach, and I plan on doing that all over Miami Beach when you elect me. I'm not beholden to developers. I'm not working for the city, so when you elect me, I'm going to continue using my own money. I'm not going to be employed or beholden to any of the developers or special interests in this city. I have nothing more to say except for if you put your trust in me, I will never let you down. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say thank you for attending tonight, and thank you to AD&A for hosting. Next, I'd like to say vote for Monica. My name is Monica Mateo Salinas. I am a City Hall insider. Oh my gosh, that means I know how to get things done. I don't take it as an insult. I know they need it as an insult, but I'm proud of the fact that I work for 2 commissioners, very good commissioners. I learned a lot about City Hall. I learned about how to get things done. I learned how to get things on the agenda, get it passed, and get real results for our residents. So I hope I've earned your trust today. I've earned the trust of many supporters and many people and many different groups, which is why I have several different endorsements. And I hope I've earned your vote today as well. Thank you very much for your time and for listening, and I will get results done for you. I have a long legislative list in my home as I knock, on my phone, as I knock on doors. I have a legislative list, resolutions, municipal ordinances. If you have something that needs to be fixed, come talk to me. I'll fix it for you. I know how to write resolutions and legislative agenda items. Come talk to me. I'll get it done for you, and we'll work for a better Miami Beach. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm your Commissioner, Laura Dominguez in Group 2. And I'm running for re-election because there's still a lot of work to be done. A little background about me, my late partner was Commissioner Mark Samulin, and when he passed away in his 2nd term, I ran for his seat. And it's been so joyful to work on projects that he started, and I've also been working on projects of my own. I'm a very responsive commissioner. I attend all neighborhood association meetings, I respond to residents, I'm out in the field, and I want to continue the work that makes Miami Beach so special. You can read more about me on my website, lauradominguez.vote, and you can see my list of accomplishments, many things that I've sponsored and helped streamline at City Hall. So I humbly ask for your vote in this election. I'm ballot number 140.
Thank you.
I'm from Carlton, I'm running in Group 2. For me, it's really simple. I have a barometer. Is it good for the residents, or is it bad for the residents? If it's bad for the residents, I'm not going to vote for it. If it's good for the residents, it'll have my support. I'm the only candidate in our group that hasn't accepted any money from developers. I'm the only candidate in our group that is not going to vote for spot zoning or FAR increases. I'm doing this for free. I'm donating every single cent that the city gives me to underprivileged children in our community. You're going to hear a lot in this campaign. Unfortunately, in politics, things get dirty. Don't be swayed by the lies, because everything that comes out from my campaign is going to be based on a record, and everything that comes out from the other campaign is going to be based on something that they fabricated and made up. For example, try to say that I developed the Waverly at South Beach. I did not develop the Waverly at South Beach. I bought it. That was years ago. Okay? There's a lot. I don't own 1,500 apartments here, all the things. I'm just a Miami Beach guy. I grew up here. I was raised here, and the city is everything to me. Thank you.
I do have to clarify that my opponent just said that he doesn't take money from special interest, but if you received a mailer today, it was paid by a PAC, and that's special interest, so it's lying here up right on the table.
That's just absolutely false. I don't know anything about that. That's another lie right there.
Okay, fair enough. Commissioner Fernandez.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I'm so grateful to AD&A for hosting this forum tonight. I'm Alex Fernandez. I love Miami Beach. I love being able to serve you. I'm proud to lead with integrity, with respect. In my 4 years as a commissioner, I've never had a scandal. I've never been a subject of an ethics complaint. And I love our city. I moved here because I met my partner Robert almost 20 years ago. Shortly after I moved to Miami Beach, I met someone great who I admire a lot, Maddie Bauer, who was part of the preservation movement. I helped her in her campaign to become mayor. And never did I think that 2 things that I absolutely love, our historic districts and
our gay community would be things that me as a commissioner would have to fight for. I never thought 4 years ago when I got elected that I would have to be fighting for LGBTQ rights in Miami Beach. I never thought that I would have to go to Tallahassee to fight to preserve the most iconic architecture, our Art Deco historic districts. But I'm proud that you have given me this opportunity, and I am committed to continue leading with the integrity and the respect that you deserve. Thank you again for allowing me to serve you.
Hey.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I ask you to vote for Luigi, number 144. I'm asking you to vote for me for a fresh new start. Now, again, I'll reiterate, we're all friends with my opponent here, Alex, and we all know him in the community. And he will be able to continue to work with me if he pleases in any other capacity, should I have the honor to be elected. I pledge that I will continue to work with Commissioner Fernandez. Because of the fact that he does have expertise, I don't think we should throw the baby out with the bathwater, but we do need a fresh, new start. The heart of the city has been sputtering. Similar to an EKG, we need to evaluate the rhythm. We need to make sure that this city is running and functioning properly. I'm asking you for your vote. I'm asking you to consider trying something fresh and new in terms of the way that our city is run. City Hall and the city of Miami Beach has been governing the city of Miami Beach as if it was two separate cities. We need more community unity. We need the residents' voices to be respected. The voices of the residents must be respected and properly represented. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all the candidates. And Wayne, I'm glad that you have, what's the name there? Zenaida Guzman. So now you can drink your coffee and you can think about it.